Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a gold Hanzo slash Doomfist. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. That really helps me out and I appreciate it quite a bit. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have going on, all sorts of good stuff. So we've got our Hanzo. Hanzo really likes to spam arrows. I don't think you can get lucky eliminations on anyone yet. I think the doors have to unlock first.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, if you see your Reinhardt is going to be right here, you might as well step out behind his body with him and use his body as your cover for firing your silly little shot. I mean, it's not like you're positioning in a spot right now that you can't then retreat to if you'd gone and taken that shot.
See that which is unseen.
You think you're gonna get better off of this? Fine. It was reasonable. Right idea.
See through the dragon's eyes.
Okay. Wait, we're not going to use that? I thought we set that Sonic Arrow up because we were going to use it. So here we are. You do that Sonic Arrow, and I'm good with that Sonic Arrow. It's telling you where those two are. It tells your allies where those two are. It makes it so that this multi-angle approach that these opponents are potentially taking from here and from here is less dangerous to you. So that's okay with me. But I do sort of expect you to offensively use it. Like, you see that, you're still keeping this direction under check with your weapon. When these guys are about to advance, and you're going to want to be able to take that shot. You're going to want to have that preloaded. I'm a little surprised. And sure enough, there it is. You turn for it, sort of. Okay. Good. It's a kind of slow reaction to that Sombra. Okay, this is over. Just walk at him. Walk at him. No, no. You'll get your respawn, but you still would have preferred your 2-second respawn earlier. Like, every instant matters, and you gave up about half a second there, and now you're late to this, and they got through this choke point. They got through this. Some of them got through this without you getting to contribute to taxing them by being up here, by being over here, by being over here. You're in worse positioning because you went down late. You played around a little. Finally, we get to see a different hero than the, like, 10 repeating offenders. I hear you, Scorcher, but those are the ones people submit heroes for. Like, I like doing different heroes too, and yet I have to do what the market demands. I'd like to do some more Junkrat, some more May. What else would I like to do some more of? I'd like to do some more Hammond, but, you know, the market doesn't cooperate. What? That's a little tough to watch, blah. Yeah. Again, a little slow in that reaction to the Sombra. You're pre-firing the Sonic so that if she invises, you can get her. Isn't perfect. Can we please get off the low ground? Like, please? Please get off the low ground. You played on low ground on first point, you're playing on low ground on second point. Like, just so we're clear, Hanzo, this isn't actually usually where Hanzo plays. Hanzo's perfectly happy to use these things As you get higher, Hanzo's going to play a little more around these areas, but this area to start, if your team is holding the choke, is perfectly fine. I don't hate this, but you're Hanzo. You have such easy access to this. This is great. It's high ground. It has a nice little box for you to hide behind. This is what we wanted. Now here, you got eliminated late, and maybe that didn't matter because maybe you don't know about the wonderful thing that is high ground and how awesome it is because you should have been up here. Really, you'd actually go up here because you can get to this easier than most of your team can, but that's okay. You could be here. These are good because it makes you more likely to hit a headshot as your arrow arcs down. It makes your aim a little bit easier if you're wrong with stuff. Like, it's easier to shoot things from above. It gives you the option to use this as cover, or if you're just on regular high ground, like in some cases, backing up can give you cover. Like, high ground is amazing, and I would like you to take it. You have all the time in the world to take high ground right now. You have pushed back the assault. Okay. That last arrow was a little sad. And that's not the... So this is reasonable. You tend to go for the, I hit a normal arrow and then I go into storm arrow, or sometimes I think I'm going to hit a normal arrow and then I go into storm arrow. Not quite the same thing. But then, what was that? What was that? That sad little arrow there. Those weren't really led properly. What? Is this going to be an aim video? I don't think this is going to be an aim video. Person was long gone. You should have adjusted this shot. That person was long gone. You should have adjusted this shot over here for the potential of hog peeking. It could have been going through the air in case hog peeked, but you should have adjusted it for that. That target was gone. Yes, I'm going at a much slower pace than you get to play the game at. I'm just wanting to study your aim. Hog is clearly not going to move to the right. You can see from his body language that he is not going to move to the right where your crosshair is, even close to that far. He's going to go straight out. He is not going to go, let me go like this, then leave. He is going to go, let me leave. Let me leave. Like, this is as far over as your crosshair could possibly be right here. And you'd prefer to air in this direction because it's more likely. So, please do that. Please actually try to aim these shots. I'm not asking you to go, oh, I need you to like a hit scan aim at where he is precisely. No. But you don't just hope that people are going to go places. You do some mental calculations of where they're likely to go based on the direction they're moving, the areas that are under threat, their body language, chokes that they have to pass through. You do calculations to make your decisions, and that wasn't it. That was sort of okay. But again, remember, we lead stuff. That's not a lead. That goes by him. Who was that for? Who was that arrow for? That was right at the hog. Again, you wanted to bring that down a little because they're likely to advance. They're likely to walk towards you at this point. That's like your third little sad arrow in the last 15 seconds. Get in here. What? What? Uh-huh. That could have hit the BAP. I'll live. That's the sad arrow. Fine. It should have been charged more and it should have been led better, as in drag down your crosshair a bit. Here, you fire this one, which is another very sad arrow. And now I think you're going to get a charged arrow followed by the storm arrow. Let's slow this down all the way because it's storm arrow. The rest of their team, the position of the planets, exactly. If you don't know their astrological symbol, how can you possibly aim at them? Nardstorm understands it. And it helps if you know what they had for breakfast, too.
I might need this later.
What are you aiming at? What are you aiming at? This is basically hit scan. This is basically hit scan. That you have to aim basically where they are with this. You were aiming where they used to be. You were aiming like over here with this, which is not where they are currently or were when you were firing it, nor is it here where someone could conceivably walk into it, but it really should have just been on them. on the blob of red enemies. It's Storm Arrow. That's how Storm Arrow works. Treat it like a hit scan. Even at this distance, it's close enough.
Fire at will.
Regen burst activated.
Oh, and now we're using Grav and you don't have Storm Arrow. Oh.
Light them up.
There's a Sombra. Reaction? Reaction? No, that is not a reaction. The correct reaction, even unless you are throwing your Dragon Strike, the correct reaction into a Grav, by the way, the correct reaction to there is a flanker on me is not, let me hope it goes away, let me hide. It's not, I hope someone will peel it for me. It's not, I'm going to keep contributing to this fight for one more second while they eliminate me because I'm not confident I can beat them. It's to turn and actually fight them. Now, if you're contributing something like, hey, I'm contributing my ult, that's part of the play. If you're contributing something like I'm nanoing in this direction and then turning and fighting them, sure. If you're going, I'm throwing, there's something I have to do over here, but it's literally just one last thing. It can't be I'm just going to shoot shots because for one more second and hope that that's the thing. You needed to pivot immediately to fight that Sombra. It's okay with me if you leapt away just like you did. Like, that's fine with me. But your crosshair needs to swing to fight them. Even if you feel like I'm going to lose, I'm terrible at fighting flankers that are on top of me, they're going to win 60, 70% of the time. They shouldn't, but even if you feel that way, even if that's currently what they do, you need to try to fight them. Because there's basically a 100% chance, it's not quite that, but we'll call it a 95% chance that they're going to take you down if you don't try to fight them. The other 5% is basically someone else hard peels for you in such a way that it can stand you not even trying to fight them, etc. And that's not what real peel is. That's not in any way something you should expect. Even if you're getting peel, you should be fighting for them. But you're in gold, you're not going to get peel anyway. So turn and fight them, please, because the other option is if you don't turn, you're going to maybe contribute one more second to the fight in exchange for then you're gone. If you do turn and fight them, let's say you only have a 30% chance of beating them or forcing them to leave, which is preposterous. You're Hanzo, that's Sombra, you have a way more than 30% chance, but let's say you have a 30% chance of driving them away or eliminating them, and driving them or eliminating them buys you another 8 seconds in the fight. Well, it's pretty obvious just from a math standpoint of a 30% chance of 8 seconds versus a 5% chance, versus we'll call it effectively a 100% chance of 1 second. That's not right, but it's easier than doing the math here, and it's close enough. Like, this is better. It's obvious that this is better. We know that this is better. Like, even if we get eliminated most of the time, we know that this is mathematically better. Please do this. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm going on a tangent, but fight flankers when they show up on you. Because at this point, I don't think it's slow reaction. I think it's you not wanting to fight that Sombra. We've seen it like 3 times now.
See through the dragon's eyes.
I'd actually like you to take different angles. You don't need to be right here with your Junkrat. They aren't that dive heavy. It's just the Sombra. Well, okay, but come on. Really? The one thing is, like, if you hear your Junkrat running his tire, maybe you did want to protect him for a moment with your sightline. You hear that? You hear that, Sombra? You hear that, Sombra, shooting your Junkrat to the left? I assume shooting your Junkrat to the left? You heard this when you were here. You could have turned and hopped back and tried to shoot. Ugh. No good. No good.
Echo here.
See that which is unseen.
Again, that last sad arrow. Okay. Okay, that's better. That was a lot of peeking. Did you not have that until now? No, you've had it for ages.
Al suyo!
This is a window. This is super scary. They do double damage through it. Yes, it's a BAP, but that does double damage through it. You have this. This you can use now, which will immediately pop that baby right here, and you can even pop that baby right there from, say, here, where the BAP doesn't have a sight line on you, and then you know if it's safe to peek the BAP or not. You know if you want to take this fight or not. You know, like, hey, is that BAP looking at me or looking at someone else for this? Look at how much of this window you challenge head on, like you're doing some corner peeking, but head on you're challenging this window when your sonic arrow is off cooldown. Still off cooldown. Still off cooldown. Still off cooldown. Oh, now we're gonna throw it out there. Now that the window is a second and a half from being over. Okay. Owie. It's dicey. Again, like, you took damage and you didn't... you can continue to move away from the damage, but you didn't turn around to see if there was something you needed to pay attention to? Huh.
You have my thanks.
Okay, good. You canceled that Sonic.
Adjusting angle of attack.
Okay, your team didn't hold this aggressively enough. You need to back off to different high ground. This is fine. Why? Why? The high ground was fine.
That which is unseen.
Damage is not real, therefore I can't be taking it.
Apagando las luces.
Almost.
Огонь по готовности.
Okay, do you have anything? You have a grab dragon. Okay, so you just need to survive. You literally just need to survive. Do it. Good. Throw it. What? You spent a lot of time lining that up. You spent a lot of time lining that up, and now you need to jump forward and storm arrow. You need to immediately try to storm arrow that lamp. No, you had to. You don't have your jump. Why don't you have your jump? Okay. What? What? No! No! Yeah? You have most of what you need. You had your Zarya to deliver the grab, you had your dragon, you had your storm arrow to break the lamp. This was another thing that we needed. Oh well.
Dragon is sated.
Okay. It was nice of that Junkrat to walk out of the lamp for you. So that those weren't completely wasted.
Let them out! Get in here!
Changing position.
Hey, Bloom.
For your own safety, get behind the barrier.
Hello there.
Enemy contact!
This will heal.
I can live with that. So I was only halfway to grab. Sorry, it's less than halfway to grab. Excuse me. Wrong Zarya. I don't like how long it takes you to get to real cover from here. I'll live, but I don't like it. This is just as good. This is just as good. But you have better cover available. I don't mind if you use your dragon when you're this far ahead of your Zarya. I really don't. But I want a pretty good dragon to justify it, and I don't think this is it. Because does your Echo have boosters? Seriously, does your Echo have flight? Your Echo does not have flight. Does anyone else have positioning that they're really going to be able to finish off this dragon? Like, Echo is the only one mobile enough to do so, and she doesn't have flight right now. And the rest of your team is poke heavy. Like, you have an Echo, you have, what, a BAP, you have an Orisa, you have a Zarya, you have a lot of poke power, but you're all right here. No one's going to be able to follow up on this dragon here. We don't expect dragon to get eliminations by itself. We expect dragon to draw a bunch of resources, tax their health, tax their cooldowns, and then say our Echo with flight comes in over the top with stickies and focusing beam. Or our Zarya is over here and is able to lob up right clicks at the same time. Or, maybe we're going to have a halt. Maybe you've called this and it's going to be a brilliant. Maybe you've gotten out. Yeah, you have. Maybe you've gotten out the shift, and now your call is, hey, we're going to do a halt dragon, and it is going to be amazing. Maybe that's the play. No. No. That was not the play. So yeah, that's not good enough to have spent our dragon on. Because now, unless we have just as good a next 30 seconds as we did the last 30 seconds or so, we are going to be making our Zarya wait on us a little with her grab for our dragon. Now, that might not be the case. We might, she might continue to be slow. We might have another fast little climb there, but we're probably going to end up making our Zarya wait 15, 20 seconds as a result of a dragon that wasn't really set up well. You needed to either have your teammates in better positions, or you needed them to have and call that they're ready. You needed them to have cooldowns that they could use to follow up on it. Not follow up, but to enable it. Halt, flight, stickies, focusing beam, those things. Aggressive positioning. Can we go take high ground? Can we go take their high ground? Our Echo's aggressive. Our Echo being that aggressive tells us that we need to be up here. Okay, maybe our Echo being that aggressive tells us no such thing. We just need to be up here. No. Really?
By the dragon.
Get in here. 30 seconds. Let them up.
Okay. I don't really think you needed to drop for this, mostly because you didn't.
Огонь по готовности.
You're trying for the Zarya? Okay, you're trying for the Zarya. What? Who were you shooting at? Who were you shooting at? At first I thought you were shooting at the Zarya, and I was like, yeah, that's fine with me. But you can see the Zarya is not behind your Orisa's body anymore. This isn't just a hold down the button and look away and continue shooting in the direction that I was looking. That's not what your Storm Arrow is. You do still have to be doing some aiming. Now, you're looking to get those shots off really quickly. You definitely are. But there still needs to be something resembling aiming. Something resembling human brain input of, oh, right, if I was generally shooting in the direction of the Zarya, I should move to be shooting in the direction of the Zarya. Or did you think there was something else here?
Helden sterben nicht.
Okay. Yeah. It's not your best Stormero. Okay. So, your Hanzo, because I think you're playing Doomfist next round, things that we would want to go over. First thing we're going to want to go over is your high ground positioning in general, but we'll talk about high ground. Like, you have wall climb, you have such easy access to high ground. Please use it. It's good on first point, it's good on second point. It's part of what makes attacking into this map so much harder than defending this map. Defensive poke is really strong on this map on both points, and you're a poke hero that was playing defense, and you, for a lot of that, weren't getting the benefits of it. Like, you can absolutely go, hey, I'm going to poke from here, I'm going to poke from here. After one fight, you can even poke from here if you can get your team on board. It's pretty great. It's hard to advance through this space against a poke team, and you had a poke team if you can get your team here. So please use your high ground, take your appropriate positioning, do that. The next thing I'd say is I want you using your brain a little bit more during your storm arrows. Like, that was not particularly amazing with your storm arrows, and I notice after your storm arrows you almost always fire off a sad little arrow too. So that's not something that should automatically happen. Like, that is something where if you're thinking of it, if you're thinking a bit more, this won't automatically happen at the end. You won't just be shooting at a Zarya that has been over here saying, "Hey, look at me," etc. You like won't be going, "Hey, there's a massive enemies advancing through a choke, but they're mostly over here. One could show up over here, and my storm arrows are going right here." Let's try to think a little. I know it's different. I know people struggle with Hanzo because he swaps between projectile and near hit scan. Like, having to use a weapon that fires at a very different speed than a weapon that you've just been using is very hard for some people, and I totally do get that. It's something that you have to train, that you have to work on. You specifically need to work on your storm arrow aim, not your regular aim, your storm arrow aim. Uh, so that would be the second thing. And again, the way you do that is you just turn down cooldowns. You just turn down cooldowns and you abuse some storm arrow stuff, and then you practice some regular shots, and then you abuse some more storm arrow stuff, and then you practice some regular shots, and you abuse some storm arrow stuff in a practice mode. Build yourself a custom game. Do that. Do that for like real. You could go super serious and like do okay 30 minutes a day of that, but even if you just are doing like 10 minutes twice a week of that, that's going to help you. It'll get you more comfortable. Don't just go, okay, I've turned off storm arrows cooldown, and now I'm just always storm arrowing, and that's all I'm practicing. I need you to practice the actual switching between the two. So you turn off the cooldown, you practice the storm arrows, then you intentionally fire some regular shots, then you convert back to storm arrows. Like, you're intentionally going to be trying to practice that, and you're doing it more often than the actual playing of the game will allow you to do, because, the playing of the game has a cooldown on storm arrow. Okay. Those are the two things. We could talk about your dragons, but no, we're not going to. So now we'll move on to Doomfist, but first let me catch up on chat. Tangent, math, simple geometry. Yeah. Junkrat, Zarya, everyone's got trust issues. Why did Hanzo start throwing up? It was passive positioning for... Yes, it was. The low ground is closer to the spawn, so your spirit travels more quickly, blah. Gold holding passively after winning a fight. Imagine that. I know, Silver Saxophone, but I still have to berate them for it. It's my job. Some negative reinforcement from, angry old man Temporal screaming at them. Screaming. I'm not really screaming at them. I very rarely scream at people. What happened to the Anna stream earlier today? It ended abruptly and then was deleted entirely. Yeah, so what happened there is I was streaming it, and then my internet died for 30 seconds, but that's enough to destroy it. I went up and tried to do a part two, but the part two didn't load correctly, and I don't know that until a couple minutes into, because sometimes it would take that for the screen to show up, and at that point, trying to reset the video, trying to do it, I had a session that was coming up, so I simply couldn't do it. So it didn't make sense to go do a part two a couple hours later. It just doesn't make sense to do that, and I'm not going to leave such a partial review up there. If that had been like a complete round and we'd covered takeaways, I might have been okay leaving it up there, but we've covered less than one round. We haven't covered any major concepts yet, and I wasn't going to go finish that review hours later when that one was a freebie, effectively. That was a freebie. That was effectively marketing, and it would have been too stale by the time I'd have gotten to it. It was, borderline stale when I was first getting to it. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Pasco, but that's what happened. I like Blah's take better though. She was a bad Anna. It's going to be a late night stream, 18 and over only. Interrupted by temporal and chill session. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, on to our Doomfist. On to our Doomfist. I am excited. What do we have?
Attackers incoming in 30
This time, I will make sure we do not fail.
Okay. So you have yourself a Reinhardt that you're working with, a Lucio.
Defend objective A.
Your other DPS is a soldier. I'm a little surprised. Let's see what you do for a rollout. You have the ball. Ball's going to be your primary dive partner. You knew that wasn't going to work. This is hard for you to aim when he's this close, and you know it's hard for you to aim when he's this close. So I'm not sure why you're going for it. He's not aware of you. You have all the time in the world to set up a better one. You don't need to force this, but we also want to make sure it's happening while the other team is distracted. Is it? Is it? Is it? Yeah. At least you've got that part right. So you're doing this at least while the other team is credibly distracted, but you knew this was always going to be hard to hit. So I'm not really a fan. You do that. You do your uppercut. Nothing resembling hitting him with that. You're all-inning? You're all-inning for a punch when you don't have a wall to hit him against? Why? This was such an obvious punch back up to here, where you've got high ground, and you get to go in for your next slam in 3 seconds, like, over to take up their backline. Why would you do this? Now you're stuck on the low ground being a punch bot. Okay, at least we exited with slam that time. No, you're 3 seconds from being able to do anything. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Why? You went here. It's reasonable. You have your cooldowns effectively back. You do that, you get value out of it, so now you generally decide to exit. Instead, you decide, nah, no one's looking at me, so I'm going to do some fist pump shots, which I can live with. And you go for the uppercuts? I mean, you can't punch out yet, and you won't be able to punch out after a slam, so you go for the uppercut. Are you going to slam this, or are you just going to keep high ground and just throw away your slam and wait for your uppercut to come back? Uh-huh. Okay. I'd like more playing around the high ground. It's really important, especially as you climb as Doomfist. I'm skeptical of some of your all-ins. Oh my goodness.
Go! Go! Go!
Okay, this is an all-in. You just all-in because you used punch and slam, and uppercut is not going to get you out. Uppercut will buy you a little time to help get you punch back, so you'll be able to punch out. That's fine. So it's not like the allest of all-ins. I'm exaggerating. Like, if you open with punch as a motion to go do this is reasonable. Except that your team is back here. Like, Why? Why are you doing this so darn early? So darn early. Your soldier's contributing. Your Reinhardt is back here, and you're all the way in here. Oh, look. You're stuck on point, a second from your punch cooldown, and you just have to hope people aren't shooting at you. Okay, you're kind of fist bumping into a shift there. It's going to be a little weak for a slam, but at least just get multiple people. You're going to finish on high ground? No. Better players, this is your vulnerability window. If you are in a fight and your cooldowns look like this, you will get eliminated. This is a vulnerability window. You punched in rather than out while both of these were still on 4-second cooldowns. That means that the fight is an all-in. Now, you're going to win this all-in fight, so it works out, but I want you to be more aware of this because you're not paying a ton of attention to it.
Enemies behind. Meteor strike.
And you're just cheating because you have Meteor Strike. Okay, this will be fine. Are you going to punch him out of the lamp? What's the plan here? Fine. That's fine. That was less fine. You've left yourself in the middle of the point with no cooldowns, and this time you don't even have Meteor Strike as an excuse. You have to be thinking about your punches. If you go, hey, I'm going to punch in, then I'm going to use both of my other cooldowns, and that's going to get me to a point where I'm close enough to having my punch cooldown, and close enough means 1 second, having my punch cooldown to use it to get out, that's fine. That's part of some rollouts, though you prefer to hit more drift on walls like this to buy yourself more time off of your punch cooldown. But like, if you go, hey, I use my other 2 cooldowns, and then I punch, and my punch doesn't take me out of the fight, that's when you get into trouble. That is. Now, maybe you don't care because you're like, this pushes over and I just need to get eliminated. But if that's the case, you wouldn't be running away like this. You would have just jumped off the edge. Oh, well. Oh, well. Time to play a fighting game. You might hit that wall, maybe. 30% chance. Missed it by that much. I know which wall you're talking about. You're talking about the Junkrat wall back here. There was the possibility, but... I believe so. Also, Junkrat is not the best target for Doomfist, right? When Conch Mine and he messes you up. He can mess you up a couple ways. The Conch Mine can drift you when you're in the air, which isn't your favorite. You also run into, he can catch you with traps, and those are the end of you because you're not using your abilities to get shields. You're not moving. You're just not going to have a good time. Doomfist no cooldowns is one of the few things I will shout in team comps. He has something for that Junkrat. He's always going after him. It's a little weird. No one shoots him despite having no cooldowns. He just walks it all back, right? Later, Pasco. Or no, or was that the, I'm just going to walk out. Okay, that wasn't you leaving. That was the Doomfist just being able to walk out with no cooldowns. Yeah. Better. At least you're trying to exit the fight with your punch. Here's Doomfist. Doomfist has no cooldowns. Doomfist is about to be fully set up. Doomfist is choosing to punch in. Valid choice. Valid choice. We're going to punch in. Okay. Wait, why are we going deeper with our uppercut? Okay. Huh. We're not out. We didn't hit any of our ability. We didn't meaningfully hit abilities to get shields. We're here. We're unhappy. Yeah, that's a problem. I was trying to exit. I thought he was just missing. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. You gonna fist pump the lamp? You did not need to spend punch for that. Good. Cursed image. Cursed image. You were about to use this punch to go in when you have 3 seconds left on both of your cooldowns. No.
Meteor strike.
Forcing your own freaking meteor strike. It was close. You almost held that punch long enough, but you couldn't. You used it to, you like started charging it too early, so you couldn't hold it long enough to go, I'm going to tick down enough on my other cooldowns to have them back to get in. Maybe you realized your mistake part way, and that's why you extreme charged that. I don't know. But like, you see, you ended up right in Junkrat's face, and you went, shoot, I can't be here, and you're meteor striking. You forced your own meteor strike. Like, it's okay to use meteor strike as a get out of jail free card, but you shouldn't be playing to put yourself in jail. You should just be willing to take slightly more risks and get out of jail free when you were taking reasonable risks. This is just a silly risk. Self-enforced wound. I really hope you land up here. Okay. Fine. What? You were in the middle of a sea of red with 2 seconds left on punch cooldown. You'll probably survive. You have enough shields, but you would not survive at a higher level. Sweet justice. Sweet, sweet justice. Okay. You're not gonna like your options. That was the wrong punch. You just rushed it. Just wait the extra 2 seconds on your slam at that point. Why do you have such a hard on for this Junkrat? Good. Fine. You exited with slam. Why are you charging punch again? Why are you charging punch again?
Meteor strike.
By the way, that punch would have been just as effective if he charged it, after the wall went down, or if he charged it after he saw a mace start to show up even slightly. Like, the wall was right there. Okay. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we gonna punch the tire? Less fun.
Thanks.
Let them out.
Heroes never die.
60 seconds remaining.
No, no, no.
We gonna regroup for a real push now? Oh yeah, teabag your teammate because you did so much better.
Just what I needed.
All over me.
Thirty seconds remaining.
No, no, no! I'd have really preferred you'd done a baby reset, but hey.
I'm taking them. Right here.
Victory.
Okay, let's get ourselves a real screen here. We talked about your Hanzo. We're going to talk about your Doomfist. The thing that will most generally be helpful to you is a better understanding of how these cooldowns work, of how they cycle. It's okay on some rollouts to use your punch to go in, to turn your punch into a slam uppercut, and then be able to punch out. Or lose a second, etc., and then be able to punch out. That's a thing. That's okay to do. It is also okay to punch bot in and use your uppercut to get air and slam to get out. Not to hurt people, to get out. Both of those things are okay. What you need to be careful of is I slam in, I uppercut, I punch while I'm still in, and now I'm falling in a place that isn't even on high ground, that is in the middle of the enemy team, and I didn't get a bunch of eliminations eliminations to allow my team to make this a safe all in where it doesn't really matter if I get traded back. You got to. Like, that is the bread and butter of Doomfist. The cursed image for Doomfist is when you've just punched and you still have 3 seconds on both of these and 4 seconds on this, and you are in the enemy team. 334, 334. That is the cursed. That is Doomfist's cursed number. That's a fine number if you're out. If you're out of the fight, that's a perfectly fine number, no problem. But if you're in the fight, that is a cursed number. Play to avoid that number. The exception is you can use your ult. If you go, nope, I'm going to get value out of this last punch. So you go, hey, I used my slam, I used my uppercut, now I get my punch, and my punch got value, and now I'm in the middle of the enemy team, and I'm in trouble. But it's okay because I've got my ult, and I've got my ult to get out. That's acceptable. You were effectively trading your ult for a punch. I hope you got value out of that punch, and you absolutely can't because punch can get pickoffs. There's absolutely times when that's reasonable. But like 334, no ult, is a cursed, and inside the enemy fight is absolutely cursed. Please avoid this. Okay. Glad we had this talk. There's other things that we could talk about. You do like the punches a little too much. I'd like you to prioritize the high ground more. I'd have liked you to prioritize the high ground more back here. I'd have liked you to prioritize the high ground more over here. I'd have liked you to prioritize the high ground more over here. Like I'd like a little more thinking about, wait, how's the high ground look, etc. Because high ground for both of your heroes does help them, but Doomfist, you will quickly find that as you get better, if you're trying to punch spot people, if you're trying to approach them from neutral ground, from same height ground as them, you're just not all that dangerous. I know that's a weird thing to say about a hero with a one-shot ability, but you're not all that dangerous if you're approaching them from the same level ground. So avoid the 334, yeah, and play for more high ground. Those are going to be what I'm going to give you to work on. I want you to focus on them one at a time and go, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I'm working on my engagement strategy. I'm working on my engagement strategy. I'm making sure that my punch takes me out of the fight. Unless we've already got eliminations, it's very clear we've already got eliminations. So I'm working on making sure that my punch takes me out of the fight. Okay. Hope that helped. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really helps me out quite a bit, and I do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have going on, all that good stuff. Questions? Do I have anything to catch up on here? Don't step in the Junkrat trap's called Doomfist. It makes me happy when people get punished for feeding. Exactly, Nardstorm. Uh, uh, yeah, Doomfist isn't that amazing against Mercy because Mercy has so many ways out. Like, if she doesn't get hit by the punch and she can move pretty fast, she can almost certainly Guardian Angel out of having been uppercutted, and that's a big deal. Surprised Pikachu face for getting eliminated. Our vertical punch is an owl. No, no. Okay, that's gonna do it. Thanks, guys.